What do you define yourself as? You mentioned filmmaker, writer. Talk to me a little bit about how you identify as in your professional life.
I mean, I'm a writer both of like screenplays and also of, essays and articles and hopefully a book eventually or books. And and then I'm a director and a producer as well. So I use filmmaker in a broad sense.
Mhm.
And my work like involves television now, film, and a lot of digital content as well, music videos, commercials, scripted, unscripted. So it really is quite a gamut of work. And honestly, those projects vary based on how they were originated, how they came together, what I was commissioned to do, what I pitched for.
Mhm.
So,
Is it under
yeah.
an umbrella like a certain company, or is it Honcho, or is it something else?
So I have a production company called Honto 88.
88.
And
Mhm.
so I started that really as I found myself producing a lot more than I expected to right out of grad school at NYU, where I got my MFA in film at Tisch and my MBA at Stern. And I can see why I was producing so much. Um, and I was also an executive, and I'd been at MTV and Condé Nast and then Nylon. And then while I was still producing, I really was like, I have stuff I want to write about. There's stuff I want to direct, but I'm not getting those opportunities as much. And, I have to reframe things for myself. And that's really where Honto came about.
Mm.
And so Honto 88 was really a vehicle for my directing, but where my work would also live within one production company instead of constantly being commissioned from different sources
Mm.
or being commissioned to direct and then going to another company. So that's really why I started it. And then more recently started Prism Entertainment with Megha Kadakia and Priya Giri Desai, who are two filmmakers whose work I have loved and respected for so long. And during the pandemic, the three of us just got on a Zoom call to chat, and we were all complaining about, you know, projects that we were brought on, that had South Asian representation. And we realized that we were also being just tokenized and being brought on to fix problems that were poorly developed because
Mm.
people involved may not have necessarily had that cultural background either. And, we were just band-aids to a wound. And we were finding this across our various projects. And then really, I think through that complaining, we had to figure out a solution. And our solution was, why don't the three of us come together to start a company and collect IP, start to do this in a different way, have a different intention. And I think it's almost like an anti-Hollywood move where we did not want to make a big announcement. We were not chasing a trade paper to suddenly say, here we are. We wanted to be very intentional. Also, the three of us hadn't worked together before. And so we really wanted to take our time, build a slow slate, tap into our networks or communities um, in a way that, and all three of us have to be on the same page
Mhm.
around something too. And
Sure.
we have various backgrounds and perspectives. And so I think we've been able to build a really wonderful slate of projects across the board, and we're really excited. And so in that, with Prism, I mean, that tends to be more culturally specific, but operating at a different scale.
Sure. Why the name Honcho 88?
Oh, so Honto 88,
Honto, sorry, Honto 88. Yeah.
although, I guess everyone who works there should be called Honcho 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
So actually, funny enough, I think a lot of companies, what I found, their names tend to be from the places or streets where they were birthed.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
so when I was thinking about what company name could I have, so much of my creative work was really coming from my Chinatown apartment
Mm.
in downtown New York. And a friend of mine was like, "Wait, isn't your condo building called Honto 88?" And I thought, "Yeah, but what does that mean?" And I looked up Honto, and I believe in Chinese, Honto refers to living life to the fullest, and but then in Japanese, Honto means really? And I thought that that was just so funny that you have this very practical word that I tend to actually say a lot. And then you have this other kind of very like earnest,
Yeah.
thing. And then 88 is the symbol of infinite good luck in a lot of Asian culture. And so I thought, you know what, being in Chinatown, being in this place also means so much to me. It's where a lot of my creativity has also been, birthed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why Honto 88. And then Prism Entertainment, Prism comes from our names. The Pri is from Priya, the S is from Shruti, and the M is from Mega.
Oh, that's good. Wow. That's a really my brother used to work for a naming company up in the Bay Area and they named, the Power Book and all these other, Lexus and just really, really large brands. And, you always picture people just sitting in a room with like, a whiteboard or something like that or a blackboard or something. And he's like, oh, there's so much that goes into it. And I'm always fascinated by names and how people come up with them. That's really cool, the Prism piece.